What do you think when you see Asian carp? Those slimy invaders leaping like acrobatic missiles from Midwestern rivers crashing into boaters' faces. Useless pests wrecking ecosystems? But what if I told you these river raiders, comprising 95% of biomass in parts of the Mississippi, now fuel a 10 million U.S. industry, with over 30 million pounds harvested since 2022 turning nuisance into export gold? I've waded waist-deep in murky currents from Kentucky to Illinois, nets in hand, uncovering the flip. Join me as we uncover how relentless harvesting of these leaping legions feeds a budding market that battles invasion with ingenuity. Most people see Asian carp in viral videos, big head and silver beasts vaulting 10 feet into the air, slapping windshields with 20-pound thuds, the sharp slap echoing like wet firecrackers. But what they don't realize is the industrial magnitude. In the Illinois and Mississippi rivers, these invasives dominate 95% of the fish biomass, schools numbering in the millions, each silver carp stretching 3 feet and tipping 25 pounds, like underwater freight trains derailing native species. I crouched on a muddy bank near Cairo, Illinois, the humid air thick with the earthy reek of algae and fish scales crunching underfoot, as electrofishing boats hum to life. What powers this reversal? Sophisticated tech, pulsed DC currents, stunning pods in seconds, GPS-guided hoop nets scooping 5,000 pounds per hour from depths of 20 feet. It's a marvel. These armored skiffs, like riverine vacuums, crews of 6 hauling 100,000-pound loads per season into processing plants. Economically, it's transformative. The $10 million industry sustains 500 jobs in rural heartlands, with exports hitting $2 million annually from one Kentucky processor alone, blending pest control with profit. But as the sun baked the brackish water into a steamy haze, I pondered, what if there's an even more dangerous way, where hunters don't stun, but strike with lethal precision amid the chaos? Deep in the moonless bends of the Ohio River, environmental fury unleashes, currents ripping at 5 knots, water temps spiking to 85 degrees Fahrenheit in summer, where dehydration and capsized hulls lurk for the reckless. I've gripped the throttle on a 30-foot flatboat off Paducah, Kentucky, engine snarling at 50 panitintam as a wall of silver carp erupted like shrapnel, one 15-pounder glancing my temple with a stinging crack. This is the extreme approach. Bow fishing raids where crews defy the torrent to conquer the horde. Human drama pulses raw. A archer's calloused fingers knock a barbed arrow, spotlight piercing the inky flow to reveal a boiling mass 30 yards ahead, fins slicing foam like switchblades. One misfire, and retaliatory leaps pummel flesh. In 2023, 4 anglers hospitalized from carp concussions near locks where currents exceed 7 millithermi. Yet they charge, wielding compound bows firing 300-pound draw weights, triple-barbed tips piercing 2-inch scales in flight. Specialized gear, carbon fiber bows, LED floodlights blinding schools from 100 feet, reinforced hulls shrugging off impacts, hones mayhem into mastery. The payoff? Epic. A dawn haul yields 2,000 pounds, fillets fetching $0.50 per pound on export docks, $1,000 per night. Funding gear upgrades and family boats. Top crews bag 500,000 pounds yearly, battling whirlpools that spin rigs like toys. But as we idled in the pre-dawn chill, scales sloughing off the deck in iridescent piles, I questioned, how do time-honored methods endure, where families net the giants without the roar? Thousands of miles from coastal glamour, in the hard-working towns of Wickliffe, Kentucky, where generations of riverfolk have danced with the current's whims. Here, the harvest hums with inherited grit. I shadowed the Yu family at Two Rivers Fisheries, their flat-bottom john boats, lashed from oak and canvas, echoing 1970s imports, slipping into the fog-shrouded flow at first light. No high-tech pulses, just the rhythmic splash of oars and the faint, metallic whiff of baited lines on the breeze. Simple tools deliver mighty yields. Hand-tied gill nets, 200 feet long with 4-inch mesh, sunk to 15 feet and hauled by winch after 12 hours. Ensnaring 1,000-pound schools in a tangle of silver thrashing. One pull, steered by river lore and cloud shadows, bags a 20-pound bighead in moments. Its gill rasp like gravel in a grinder. Generational wisdom is the anchor. Angela Yu, whose parents fled Vietnam in '75, recounted her father's 1980s lessons in tide reeds that predict spawns, yielding 90% efficiency with bare-bones gear. This rooted craft powers global trade. 6 million pounds processed yearly. 90% shipped to China for stir-fries in bustling markets. That haul, cured into fillets, generates $1.5 million in exports, bolstering 200 families in a $10 million cultural fishery. As we winched the net aboard, the cool slime of flanks sliding through gnarled fingers, I sensed the weave from local legacies to worldwide plates. Yet, far from the fryers, the carp alchemizes into elite allure, where river grit gleams as coveted delicacy. I toured a polished lab in Chicago, whispers of venture capital humming like the hum of dehydrators, unveiling the premium pivot. Rebranded Kopi, silver carp aged 48 hours in brine for flaky tenderness, omega-3 rich fillets whiter than tilapia, sourced from uncontaminated wild stocks. What elevates it? The exacting right, artisanal processors debone 500 pounds daily by hand, infusing with herbs for 8 per pound gourmet packs, diamond-sharp blades gliding through flesh in 20-minute cycles. Time sinks deep. Fermentation vats bubbling 72 hours, the tangy zest of citrus mingling with faint river musk. These treasures voyage to Whole Foods shelves or bespoke pet boutiques, starring in $20 hypoallergenic kibble or chef-driven tacos. The bizarre? Affluent Niches. A 2024 bulk lot of 10,000 pounds snagged $50,000 at a sustainable seafood auction. $5 per pound processed, eclipsing salmon. I sampled a seared Kopi medallion, buttery and crisp as a fallen cloud, tasting the triumph of transformation. Astonishing, right? How a leaped pest graces a millennial's charcuterie. Yet threats cloud this carp chronicle. Overabundance strains $10 billion Midwestern sport fisheries, with jumping hordes slashing angler days by 30% since 2010, while warming waters spur 20% population booms yearly. Poaching shadows, too, unregulated takes siphon 5 million pounds annually, pitting rural livelihoods against ecosystem collapse. I've huddled with ecologists in St. Louis. Charts grim. Invasives gobbled 40% of plankton baselines. But ingenuity surges like a spring freshet. Quotas cap harvests at 40–80% biomass removal. AI boys forecasting schools to spike yields 25%. while lab-tuned feeds recycle byproducts into zero-waste loops. Biodegradable nets and community co-ops ensure equitable shares. The scales? Profit against pulse. $10 million trade versus restored base runs cooling river fevers. I foresee fusion. Use nets with drone scouts, herds culled to harmony, fishers as healers. Achievable with resolve. We started with those missile-like marauders arcing from the waves, doubting their worth. Now illuminated. America's unwanted carp aren't curse, but catalyst. A $10 million saga of grit netting futures, traditions filleting fortunes, stewardship balancing the basin. Why resonates this for you? These river raiders ripple to your grocery aisle. Micro-harvests mending macro waters that quench nations. The human glow. Angela's resilient nod. A bowfisher's dawn whoop affirms innovation blooms in care's soil. What other unwanted wonders do you think fuel hidden booms? Comment below and subscribe for more tales like this, exposing the edible undercurrents of our world.